Well, we're almost all here, so why don't we begin? Welcome back, smaller crowd than last week, but still good to have more of you in person. So today we're going to be talking about that scene from Othello that you read yesterday, Act 3, Scene 3. We'll go through some of the key moments in that. It is a bit of a longer scene, so I appreciate your patience with reading it, but there are some really crucial details that emerge from it that we'll talk about in terms of evidence that Othello gains about his wife. Hold on one second, my computer's freaking out. Hopefully that should fix it. So we're going to begin with independent reading, though, because it's Thursday. Before we do that, just two announcements. Number one, you probably saw last night I sent out an announcement on Canvas. The school district is currently in the process of updating their English curriculum from kindergarten to 12th grade. And the admin is interested in hearing the perspective of students about what we can do to better make the English curriculum something that'll help you improve as writers and readers and just as more contemplative, thoughtful humans. So if you have any feedback for us, it would be great if you could fill out that survey. People do look at it. We do appreciate your thoughts. It'd be wonderful for you to do that. It'll only take about like 5 minutes. So if you could spare those, we'd appreciate it. As an aside, also, I'm on that committee to revise the curriculum. So if you have any specific thoughts about how English class could be better and you want to tell me, I can relay it to the group when we meet over the summer to revise things. So, message me, talk to me after class, just let me know your thoughts. And that would be wonderful. So that's announcement one. Announcement two is, I think I've mentioned to you before, in addition to being an English teacher, I also serve as the faculty advisor of Gazebo, the school literary magazine. As the end of the school year approaches, so does the publication date of our spring issue. I'll show you what it looks like. So this is last spring's Gazebo. Looks like this. It's just a little booklet that features poetry, short stories, artwork, any sort of creative expression from students in the school. And so we're looking, I just realized I showed you this. This is like a black and white version. Normally the pages are in color. But if any of you are, secret creative writers and you want to submit some work to me to be published, so you could say you are a published author, it would be great to see what you have. If you have anything that you want to submit, and you can do so anonymously if you'd like, just send it to me by early May, and we can include it. Yeah, it can be anonymous, but obviously I'll know who you are, but I'll hide your name in the publication. And basically anything works: photography, paintings, drawings, poetry, short stories, lyrics to a song, a script, anything like that. If you do decide to submit something, I will give you extra credit. I'll give you 3 extra points on some quiz. So consider it. Okay, any questions on either of those 2 announcements? Okay, great. Well, we could get started then. So we'll begin with our 15 minutes. For you guys in the room, you can take out a book, use Mac and Via. If you've forgotten a book, like I did today, I'm really bummed. I forgot my book at home. So I grabbed something new. I grabbed Empty Bottles Full of Stories, which is this book of poetry by Robert Drake and R.H. Sin, who are kind of internet poets. If you like The Sun and Her Flowers or Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, it's kind of that kind of thing. I started reading it during first period. It's pretty good. If you like those, I would recommend it. So I'll put 15 minutes on the timer. You can start reading. Here is the waiting room, and I don't see it because I'm facing this way. Just yell at me and tell me to turn around. Okay. So yesterday we began reading Scene 3. We talked about how Cassio's taking Iago's advice. He's going to Desdemona, as he said. That the general's wife is now the general. Cassio's hoping that Desdemona can convince Othello to give him his job back, so he can be lieutenant again. and Cassio, Desdemona agrees. Cassio sees Othello coming and runs away. He doesn't want to be seen, be yelled at. So this is just a recap from yesterday. Then we'll get to the rest of the scene. What is Iago's reaction? How does he begin to manipulate Othello in that moment there when Cassio's slinking away? Yeah.
He just kind of says that it's strange.
Right. He says, I don't like that. Or like, basically, that's kind of strange. That's kind of weird. Why is he doing that? So this is how Iago operates. This is his genius. A less skillful manipulator would just say, hey, I think your wife's cheating on you. He doesn't do that. He lets Othello figure it out for himself. Because Othello is putting the pieces together himself, it feels like he's discovering it rather than someone else is feeding him the information, which is, of course, what's actually happening. So we'll look at a few moments here that demonstrate Iago's really mastery of manipulation. Before we dive in too far, any general reactions or thoughts about the scene, things that stood out to you, anything like that? Okay, that's fine. Well, let's take a look then at this manipulation, as I said. So I'll talk through a few parts. We'll also do a little bit of reading. I want to start with some reading. So I need two people. I need a Iago. I need an Othello. Any takers. You can be either in the room or on Zoom, whichever you prefer. Great. Kendall, you can be Othello. And then who wants to be Iago? It was a sinister, nefarious flair to them. Oh, come on. All right. It's always Kendall and Emma. I appreciate that. We need to get some of you, the rest of you reading. Okay, so I'm a few pages into scene 3. Look roughly around line 100. Look for the line where Othello says, "What dost thou say, Iago?" Do you see that? If you do, can you shout out the page? 133, perfect. So we're going to start where it says, "What dost thou say, Iago?" We're going to end with Iago saying, my lord, you know I love you. So just
what dost thou say, Iago?
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was just reading it. What dost thou say?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. You're ahead of me. Yeah, go ahead. You can start.
Did Michael Cassio, when wooed my lady, know of your love?
He did, from first to last. Why dost thou ask?
For the satisfaction of my thought, no further harm.
Why of thy thought, Iago?
I did not think he had been acquainted with her.
Oh yes, and went between us very oft.
Indeed.
Indeed, indeed. Discernst thou aught in that? Is he not honest?
Honest, my lord?
My lord, for aught I know. Oh, sorry. Honest, honest.
My lord, for aught I know.
What dost thou think?
Think, my lord.
Think, my lord. By heaven, he echoes me, as if there were some monster in his thought, too hideous to be shown. Thou dost mean something. I heard thee say even now, thou likest not that. When Cassio left my wife, what didst not like? And when I told thee he was of my counsel, and the whole course of wooing, thou criest indeed. And didst contract and purse thy brow together, as if thou then hast shut up in thy brain some horrible conceit. If thou dost love me, show me thy thought.
My lord, you know I love you.
Okay,
I think.
perfect.
Oh, sorry.
Good stuff there. Thank you, though. Great. So I want to talk here about the specific manipulative strategies that Iago's using. So what do you see here? What's he doing to deepen the distrust that Othello has? How is he playing mind games? Yeah, Karina, and if you could just turn on your mic and talk into Zoom so we can hear you. What was that? If you're having tech issues, you can just say it. I'll repeat it for the Zoom crowd. Oh. Good. I just want to say anything too suspicious. Well, what else? Yeah. Yeah, it's a great point, and I like how you picked up on the details of Iago's acting. Right? He is he's putting on this show. He's furrowing his brows, and Othello picks up on it. He's trying really hard to make it look like he knows something, and he's trying to be a good friend and hide it from Othello. But that's the bait, right? That's the outward show. In reality, he's trying to pull Othello in. And I like your point that Iago's making himself out as the only one who knows the truth, the only one, he's honest Iago, the only one Othello can trust. Right? And it works. Othello says, thou echoest me, you keep repeating what I say, as if there were some monster in thy thought too hideous to be shown. As if you know some horrible secret and you're not telling me what it is. Good. It goes on like this. You could jump, might be ahead a page, maybe 2 pages to the line around 165. Othello says, by heaven, I'll know thy thoughts. You guys see that? 139. Great. So Othello is taking the bait. He keeps insisting, I want to know. What's the secret? What do you know? What aren't you telling me? Come on. Tell me. It's important. Othello says, by heaven, I'll know your thoughts. Tell me. Iago, you cannot. If my heart were in your hand, nor shall not, whilst it's in my custody. Even if you had my heart in your hand, even if you knew the very secrets of my being, you wouldn't figure it out. I'm not going to tell you. So note what he says here. This is one of those super famous paragraphs from this play. He says, oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. That cuckold lives in bliss, who, certain of his fate, loves not his wronger. But oh, what damned minutes tell he, or who dotes, yet doubts, suspects, yet strongly loves. Have you ever heard the phrase green-eyed monster meaning jealousy? Yeah, that's one of the things that Shakespeare has coined from this play. So he's like, beware jealousy. Jealousy is the green-eyed monster. It which doth mock the meat it feeds on. So it is making a mockery of the people that it preys on. Okay. But let's look at the second half of that little bit of dialogue. That cuckold lives in bliss, who certain of his fate loves not his wronger. Cuckold just means someone like a husband whose wife is cheating on him. So what does that first clause mean there? That cuckold lives in bliss, he's certain of his fate, loves not his wronger. How would you parse that into contemporary English? And remember, with Shakespeare, you might have to rearrange some phrases to put it in proper form. What was that? No problem. But did you want to answer?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I think Casio knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
No, he's not really talking about Cassio here. So he's saying that he's talking more abstractly. So a husband who's being cheated on lives in bliss, is happy if he's certain of his fate and loves not his wronger. Anyone else want to take a shot at that? Kate? I just couldn't hear the last part. The first part was right. Yeah, so well, the last part is more like he's happy who knows for sure that he's being cheated on and doesn't love his wronger, that is to say, rightfully hates his wife and the person his wife's cheating on. So it's like it's better to be cheated on and know for certain that you're being cheated on and know who's doing it. Like that stinks, but that's at least a good thing you know it's certain. Okay, and then he contrasts that with the second clause. But oh, what damned minutes tells he, or one who dotes yet doubts, suspects yet strongly loves. Okay, so that's the complementary phrase there. What does that part mean? Sure, you can take it again. Right, exactly. What's really painful is being uncertain if you could trust your partner. Who dotes yet doubts. Dotes is when you care for and shower with affection someone. So if you're showering your loved one with affection, yet you're doubting if they're faithful. You suspect they might be doing something wrong, yet you still strongly love them. Being stuck in that romantic limbo is what's really terrifying. Like human beings, we want to know, we want to know secrets. So like we want to know gossip. We want answers. We don't like uncertainty. And Othello's stuck in uncertainty. Okay. So this bit of dialogue, like I said, really famous. It's also pretty ironic on a couple levels. So what's ironic about what Iago is saying here? And how is this further manipulation? Oh, Kendall.
It's ironic because Iago's wife is cheating on him with Othello, so Othello would obviously know if his wife is cheating or not, but I think Othello still believes that Iago doesn't know his wife is cheating.
Yeah, well, Iago says that Amelia is cheating on him. I'm very skeptical that Amelia is actually cheating on Iago. So it's mentioned, he mentions it a couple times, but there's no real evidence for it. Amelia, we never see her interact in a super romantic way with Cassio. So while it seems more like Iago is guilty of the sin that he's warning about, he himself is the jealous one. He's jealous of Othello. He has this belief that he's being cheated on. He's also jealous of Cassio because Cassio was a lieutenant. He wants to be lieutenant. So he's guilty of, he's being hypocritical here. But this is a warning too. He's saying beware, right? Don't be jealous, right? And so where's the irony in that in terms of how it plays into his broader plan of manipulation? He's saying don't be jealous, but what is he really hoping Othello will do? Emma?
He's hoping that he'll actually get jealous and kind of keep an eye out on Desdemona and everyone around him and kind of get overprotective.
Yeah, exactly. It's like reverse psychology. Imagine little kids and you tell them, hey, whatever you do, don't go into the forbidden room. If you go in there, it'll be really bad. That's off limits. Well, what's the little kid going to do? They're going to want to immediately go into the room. So Iago's saying, hey, don't get jealous, because if you think too much about jealousy, it'll take over your mind, never end. And of course, what immediately happens is he suggests jealousy, and that's what happens. Othello gets overtaken by jealousy. Right? So it's a pretty effective bit of manipulation. Okay, we can go on. Note, you might have noticed here also that Iago echoes Brabantio's warning to Othello. Iago says, Desdemona did deceive her father, marrying you. Desdemona, we know she's capable of lying, so same thing might be happening to you here. And this scene is largely just an eruption from Othello, who's taken away with this and thinking, is this possible? Is my wife cheating on me? But yet he doesn't get too far taken away. He demands proof. He says, look, there's all this happening. I don't know what to think. I don't know who's right, but I need something concrete, something I can look at and say, here we go. Now I know definitively. What's the piece of evidence that he comes across or that's presented? It's a physical object. He sees it in the scene. Yeah, yeah, exactly. The handkerchief. Good. We're kind of short on time, so I was going to have us read that bit, but we'll just read a smaller amount of it. So this is a few pages in where Amelia shows up. Again, Amelia, Iago's wife, Desdemona's chambermaid, and she stumbles across this handkerchief that Cassio, or she stumbles across this handkerchief that Desdemona left. It's a handkerchief that Othello had given to her, the first gift that Othello ever gave her. It's a handkerchief embroidered with strawberries on it. And we find out that Iago had always been asking for this. He's constantly asking for her to steal the handkerchief. And we can see why in his little speech. So there's a bit of small little speech that Iago does starting around line 320, but be not known on it. Could I have someone read that for us? Be not known on it, I have use for it. Just that chunk that Iago says. Does anyone read it? Okay, thanks, Kendall.
Be not known on, I have use for it. Go on, leave me. I will in Cassio's lodging lose this napkin. Let him find it. Trifles light as air are to the jealous confirmations strong as proofs of holy writ. This may do something. The more ready changes with my poison. Dangerous conceits are, in their natures, poisons, which at the first are scarce found to distaste, but with a little act upon the blood burn like mines of sulfur. Shall I continue?
Yeah, you could stop there, actually. Okay, thank you. So what's his plan? What's he going to do with this handkerchief that belongs to Desdemona? Yeah.
He's gonna plant it on Cassio probably, or make it seem as
Yeah, of course. Like yesterday, we talked about, well, what are the signs that someone's cheating on you? Well, imagine if you like, if let's say you're dating someone, you walk into their bedroom and you find some other person's shirt there. That's going to be a pretty bad sign, right? And so that's kind of the idea here. It's very clearly that this handkerchief is associated with Othello. It's his gift, and it's going to be in Cassio's room. Iago goes on to say, trifles light as air are to the jealous confirmation strong as proofs of holy writ. This is one of the things Shakespeare is known for, why he's still studied, like his understanding of how the mind works, especially a mind ill at ease, in this case, a jealous mind. So what does he mean by that? Trifles light as air are to the jealous confirmation strong as proofs of holy writ. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Trifles are like little insignificant details, right? So to the jealous mind, to the jealous, trifles, insignificant trifles are confirmation as strong as holy writ, as strong as scripture, basically. Sort of like a comment on confirmation bias, right? If you're primed to believe a certain thing, you're going to see evidence for it everywhere. And when you're jealous, any little detail you will grab onto and use that as rock solid proof, even if like otherwise you might see like, oh, my friend left a handkerchief here, like no big deal, right? So we have to wrap up, but let me just point out here how the scene ends. What does Iago win that he's been looking for? Emma?
Desdemona's handkerchief that Othello gave him. Yeah.
Well, yes, he does get that. I was talking more about like the second to last line. What does Othello give to Iago?
His lieutenant's well.
Yeah, he's gotten what he's wanted. He's now Othello's lieutenant. Cassio's out in the dump. So first phase of his plan is complete. Now he just has to overthrow Othello. All right, everyone. So that's it for tomorrow. Please read the next scene, scene 4. It's much shorter than this one, only a few pages. We'll talk about that then. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.